Alright, so we're going to start working Ronan on the e-collar. I got string cheese for him because I remember him liking that during our training sessions. Let's see, I'm going to get it out to my fridge. So this session is going to be quite long. I'm going to work them for about an hour. I feel like the lighting in here is good enough, but all right, so the kind of collar that I have is just like, I got it at Walmart. It's nothing special. The range is 1,000 feet. The tone that e-collars use, I'm pretty confident they're like the same across all e-collars. So if you wanted to invest in your own e-collar, I'm sure there's better ones than this one. This one was about $50. Their operation is pretty straightforward. They charge up like your smartphone. They come with all the hardware and stuff, and it's a USB port, so it's really easy to recharge. What we're looking for here with Ronan is just the auditory tone, so the beep. The beep is supposed to be taking the place of us saying his name, Ronan, come, right? It's just another auditory stimulus. It's not supposed to be negative. It's supposed to be positive. It's supposed to be something that he starts to understand he's supposed to run to. This collar, like most e-collars, have a vibration setting and a shock setting. We're not going to use those because I think Ronan would be super fragile to that. He's so sensitive. So using any kind of pain or fear to decrease or increase the frequency of a behavior, I think is going to be too much for him, and I don't think it would be very ethical to use that tool in that way for this dog. Here's the remote, very straightforward. Usually the collars are waterproof, the remotes are not, so you have to kind of baby this. So we have, it's really simple: tone, vibrate, shock. That's the sound. So what we're going to do here, especially since he didn't react that negatively to that, is we're not going to muffle the sound at all. We're going to start out with him just working with the tone. I'm going to set my phone up here. I'm going to make myself comfy. Also going to set a timer for 15 minutes so I can check on the other dog outside every 15 minutes or so. Hey Google.
Hang on while I get connected to Wi-Fi.
She's not connected. Alright, I'll just have to measure it a different way. Just guess. Okay. Measure cheese. In case, I'm just going to turn the TV on so that I have the time in front of me. In case we need to muffle the sound for whatever reason, there's like a blanket here and pillows that we could use. I was going to offer to muffle the sound if the natural sound of the beep tone was too much for him. Okay, we're just going to let it ride. Alright. I would eat all this cheese. Alright, so let's be clear about what it is that we want him to do. We want him to start to come back to us when he hears the tone of the collar. So I'm going to artificially recreate that by getting him to move away from me. I want to get him into this behavior pattern of moving away from me. Ronan, good. And then coming back to me at the sound of that beep, right? So it's move away. Good. I'm trying to beep it after I get his attention onto me. See, like that one wasn't that good because he wasn't looking at me. Good. I'm gonna try and have the recall behavior happen rather naturally on its own. Good, after I press the tone. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to try and increase the chances of him doing that. Ronan. So I'm saying his name, I'm making kissy noises, I'm visibly dropping the cheese. Oops. Ronan. Good. He's not scared of the beep, which is nice. Good boy. Alright, I'm gonna get another cheese stick out. And we're gonna do the same exact thing. Are you ready? If I don't feel the need to add any kind of incentive to bring him back to me, I'm not going to. So again, the beep of the collar is supposed to be substituted for our recall command. So instead of saying here or come here, we're using the beep instead. Good. And the collar is just in my lap right now. Ready? Now the hard part about this is going to be bridging the collar being in my lap versus on his neck, right? Because the goal is that he's going to be off a leash wearing this collar on his neck. It's not going to be on your lap, right? It's going to be on him. Oh boy. All right, so now we're going to randomize it a little bit. I'm going to wait for him to naturally go away, like he is right now. Good. And then we're just going to randomly press the tone button on the collar. And we're going to see if he starts to come back to us. And if he does, we're going to reinforce. The level of difficulty that I'm starting at with this, I'm just guessing. I'm doing moderately hard, so I'm not going to tone it when he is looking at me. I'm going to see if there is any kind of deepening of an understanding of what that tone means. So I'm just kind of trying to read him at this point to see where he's at. If we need to go back a few steps, we can. All right, so right now I'm waiting for him to leave me, right? He's right up on me because I have the cheese in my hand. I'm the most reinforcing thing for him to be next to right now. So I'm waiting for him to leave. The moment that he does turn around and leave like that, I'm gonna let him hang out for a little bit. Then I'm gonna beep that. He did not come back to me, right? Ronan! Good. So that lets me know I can't make it that hard for him, right? Ronan! Good. So I paired his name in a sweet tone, something that he's used to hearing. Ronan! Good boy. With the beep to try and boost my success. He hears his friend Max at the door right now. Ronan! Good. So we can argue that this tone sound is not a conditioned stimulus at this point. He does not understand that the tone sound means to come back to me. Ronan! He does know his name though. So I'm going to use that to my advantage to try and bridge this. Ronan. After we get done with this set of reps, I'm going to talk to you about things that can go wrong. Ronan. Good. Ronan. Good. Ronan. So rep before last, I did the beep out of order. I'm supposed to beep first and then say his name to try and get him to come. Ronan. So I'm still just waiting for him to get distracted naturally. For the sake of time. Ronan. Good. Ronan. Oh, now it's out of order. It's okay. Ronan. Ronan. Alright. Oop, it's okay, you can have it. Go ahead. Scaredy cat. Okay. So let's talk more about the e-collar and how it's normally used for retail training. So the e-collar is really meant to be a punisher, not a reinforcer, a punisher. It's meant to punish dogs by adding a unpleasant stimulus, the vibration and the electronic shock, right? Those are the negative things. The tone is meant to warn the dog in a way, hey, if you don't come back here, you're going to get shocked, right? So in order for the dog to avoid the pain of the shock, they are conditioned to come back to their handler. at the sound of the beep. Why is that a thing? The reason why dogs are trained that way with an e-collar is because when we unhook the leash from the dog and they have all the freedom in the world to move how they want, it can become very difficult for a handler to motivate a dog to move away from all of that stimulus that they're free to access to come back to their handler. So that's why the e-collar has these punishments built into it. So if a dog is choosing to smell a bush where another dog peed or chase after a deer or a squirrel instead of come back to their handler, the handler applies the consequence to that disobedient decision by giving the shock, right? I do not train dogs that way, especially dogs that are as soft and sensitive as Ronan is. I feel like that can do a lot more harm than good. So what we're going to do when we have him outside in a more natural setting, we're not going to give him all the freedom that an off-leash dog has quite yet. We're going to keep him on a leash, and we're going to prevent him from being able to go and chase that bunny rabbit, right? So that if we tone and say, Ronan, and he doesn't come away from the distraction, we can physically pull him away from that distraction. Another special consideration when we're working with a dog like Ronan, I always try and address an emotional brain before I address a logical brain in a dog. The reason is that the emotional brain is always the more powerful. It's always the initial brain that fires up, and we need to respect it and not be naive and think that we can talk to an emotional brain or talk to a logical brain rather when the body is being more emotional. Ronan finds himself very emotional a lot of the times because he's so fearful, right? So he puts himself in a fight or flight mode a lot faster than other dogs. And so if we have him out in public and he is off leash and he's running away from something that's scaring him, it's going to be very difficult to ask him to recall out of that, like running away from something that he finds really scary, right? It's so counterintuitive to what his brain is telling his body to do. Additionally, some might say, well, that's an instance where you should punish him for that, right? I asked him to come here. I don't care why he's not coming here. He's not coming here, so I'm going to administer a shock. That, I think, would be so wrong to do to Ronan, because you're punishing a dog who's making decisions out of emotions and not logic, right? It's not like he is not coming back when you call him because he's trying to run and say hi to a person and being impulsive, you know what I mean? He's running away from something that scares him. So I don't think it would be ethical to punish him for making that wrong decision, and at least in our minds, to run away from the thing that's bringing him fear. So whenever you're working with recall training with a dog like Ronan, it's really important to understand that point of view and respect it. And if you think about, well, how do we get around that then? Like, how do we get to a point where I can use the Punisher? Is there ever a situation where the Punisher can be used? And I think, in my mind, it has to be on a very confident dog that you start a punishment with. And so you'd have to build Ronan up to that level of confidence where he's no longer running away from things that are scaring him, to use punishment, in order to use the punishment in a recall training. So just keep that in mind. I know you guys know he's special, and so you have to treat him special. All right, so now what we're gonna do is resume our exercise here, and we're gonna try and experiment more. So every 3 reps, I'm gonna do what we have been doing. We're gonna throw the chews away. We're going to beep, Ronan, and reinforce. I don't know why he doesn't want to come and eat this food right here. Hi, baby. You want it? Good boy. Ronan. Good. So this is the third rep. Ronan. Alright, this fourth time, we're going to throw the cheese and just beep. We're not going to say his name. We're going to see what happens. Take here. Alright, now we're going to wait for him to get distracted. Good boy. He did it. Good boy. That's really good. So he just demonstrated that that tone was something that caught his attention, and he had the thought after hearing that tone to come back around and come to me. Which is what we want. Right? Mm-hmm. Good boy. I feel like you're probably full on cheese. It's right here, look. Thank you. Look, it's right here. Good boy. You're doing a really good job. Thank you. Good. Good. Alright, now what we're going to try and do is actually put the collar on him. Hopefully not scare him. Oh, that's way too tight. So remember, we're not using a vibration or a shock, so the collar does not have to be like really well fit. Now when we put the collar on him, we run the risk of it spooking him a little bit, so this will be really interesting. So now I'm just waiting for him to walk away from me. And the collar is on his neck. Good boy! You did it! Here. Who's a good dad? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Just waiting on him to leave. Good boy! Good job! Good boy. the next couple steps of this would be continuing to give him lots of repetitions of the beep and him coming back to me, meaning that he gets a reward. And then after we do, I'm talking like hundreds of reps of that. It sounds like a lot, but it'll happen relatively soon. Then we start to what's called proof the behavior. So we no longer, give him a reward every time he comes back to us on his own. It's only when the beep happens, right? And that keeps that stimulus of the beep very precious, all right? It holds value to it. But we want to try and get a really deep learning history that the beep means if he comes back to me that he gets food. We want to really build that up before we start to proof the behavior. And then the other thing that we want to try and keep in mind, even if we want to really push him and test it out to see, which is really hard for me not to do, but we want to try and keep the distraction level to a minimum. So there's no other dogs loose in the house right here, right now. It's just me and him. He can hear other dogs that are behind closed doors, but he can't actually see them. There's no wildlife in my house, It's a pretty cataloged and neutral area that's easier for him to work in. All right. He's eaten like 5 cheese sticks already, so I'm kind of hesitant to use any more for a food reward because I don't want his stomach to hurt. So what we're going to do is stop the recall work and then start to go and work him outside in public spaces, continue to work on the people reactivity, and then we're also going to work his buddy Max that you saw out there earlier. Or I don't know if you saw him out there. I think I sent you a picture of him. So we're going to do that. I'm going to take the collar off because we have no need for it. We're going to turn it off so we conserve battery. Yeah, e-collars can be a really nice tool. But they're not for every dog. The way that we trained it could be for every dog, but the whole vibration and shock part of it is definitely not for every dog. Alright. I'm gonna let his friend Max in. Let's see how much time we had today. Oh yeah, that was about a half hour. That was really good. Alright, let me bring his buddy Max in. Max! Come on, big boy. Come on. You big chicken. Come on, Max. Come on. He's the other board and train dog. Oh my gosh, you're afraid of everything. Come here, it's fine. He grew up outside his whole life, so coming into doors is really difficult for him. Hey, here you go. Oh. Okay. Come on. Come on, let's go.